Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jake from the DomJake podcast, and with me, as always, is
Dom.
from the DomJake podcast. Great. There you go.
From the DomJake podcast, it is.
Perfect. Now, in case you are new here, no. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the DomJake podcast. My name is Jake.
And my name is Dom.
And today we have a lovely episode planned out for you. I'm pretty excited to get into it, but first, we might need to drop some knowledge, drop some background on you first.
Alright.
I thought you were gonna say more, but okay.
So, what is this that you're gonna drop on me?
We're gonna drop some background of first saying we already did an episode about video games before. Don't know if you recall this, Dom, but I definitely do.
I remember that.
What is it that we ended up doing in that one?
I just remember we talked about, if I could remember correctly, we did talk about some of our video game experiences, whether that's from when we were kids all the way up to current day. That's just what I remember.
That's practically exactly what it is. We kind of dove into a little bit of history about the topic in general, and we kind of, spoke about our experiences and what we would possibly, like to maybe see in the franchises that we like, right? Just a various bunch of facts and shenanigans went down on that one, but I had an idea while we were recording that, and guess what? We're doing that idea today.
Oh boy!
So last week I basically sent over a little questionnaire of sorts, where it basically goes over a bunch of different things, right?
Oh yeah.
But what's this questionnaire about, Dom?
It's about, what your ideal video game would be.
What your ideal video game would be. That's right. In this episode, the two of us both prepped I shouldn't say some, we prepped a lot. And we wrote pretty much, no. We answered this questionnaire to the best of our abilities of what our game would end up being like. Of course, we don't have a physical product, but this is more or less just two people pitching their ideas. I hope my recap or cap, because I don't think we recapped anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're capping it for the first time ever, right?
Yeah.
I hope that explanation did the idea wonders, but we'll be discussing our ideal video games. And hopefully one day maybe these things turned out to be real. Who knows?
Oh,
I don't know how mine will be, because let's just face it, mine is complex.
Mine is kind of what you would probably expect. I guess, let's just say, in, modern games.
So, we did, once again, go off with the nice questionnaire that I wrote, I don't know, a week or two ago. And I guess in ideal DomJake fashion, we'll let D go before J, right?
Right? Yeah.
So while Dom is explaining what his game is going to be, there will be occasional moments where I might ask a question or two or three, or maybe make a comment about something that you said, but it won't just be, an hour of just him talking and then an hour of me just talking, right?
You might ask questions that aren't even in the questionnaire, right?
We could do that, or
Well,
just stuff that genuinely I didn't think about writing on that questionnaire.
well. So,
Without further ado, let's get this started, shall we?
okay.
What is, and you know what? I'll ask you the questions, right? I'll be the questionnaire. What is the title of your game?
Let's just say it's some. Before I answer that question, the only thing I will tell you, right, just so you'll be like, what? Let's just say this is based on something we did in school.
Okay, is it a foot puck game?
Nope. It
Dang.
is. It is based off of a video production project. This video project called Psycho Janitor is about, a character that I played is, well, let's just say he's a psycho janitor, and he was, swinging the mop around, whacking people. I mean, you probably paint the picture in your head. It is a funny video.
Oh, yeah.
And if this podcast gets 10 likes, I will upload it to this channel.
You actually have it? That's lovely.
I still have that video.
Nice.
But, yep, it is pretty much about, these... Well, I'll talk about the plot later on because it does...
Because I'm sure it will come up, right?
As you might guess, this would be considered a survival horror type game.
I was just about to ask that. What are the primary and secondary genres of your game?
It's the survival horror, essentially, because it does give you that vibe.
That's a nice mix.
Yeah.
As for platform, what do you think it would be available on?
It's going to be on the 3 mainstream consoles. I mean, the Switch, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox. And then it will...
Three?
What?
You're thinking those 3, yeah? Nice.
That's that, and then for any computer gamers that want to stream their gameplay, you do have a PC option, but it's ideal to play it on a console.
Right.
But I mean, this is not to say there aren't benefits to the computer, but it's still fun.
It sounds it. Does it have a more casual feel or a hardcore feel?
I guess it's a mix. It's like, well, I guess it starts out a little more casual, but as you level up, it just gets crazier and crazier.
I would imagine. That sounds flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this something where it's just a single player experience, or could there be a possibility for multi?
I made it just a single player because how are you gonna? You can't really clone me and keep smacking people in the face.
Think about it though. 2 psycho janitors, huh? And they have to smack each other, right? No.
I mean, unless there's a bonus round where I like the principal and I have a feud.
Good. That's an interesting approach, man.
And I guess for their respect, I'm probably going to use some generic principle.
No, you're actually just going to use all of the principles that we've ever had.
Yeah.
Carbon copies.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What are the core gameplay mechanics?
Core gameplay mechanics. It's more of like, I guess it's like a beat 'em up style sort of thing, but it's like you find an enemy, which is they're either enemies or they're not enemies.
Okay. What distinguishes them from each other? Who are the enemies who are not?
They could either just be students walking to their classroom or somebody trying to either remove this guy out of the classroom because he's been or remove this guy out of the school because he's been causing havoc.
Oh, okay.
Even though, ideally, in our perspective, they're actually trying to help keep people safe, but in this guy's eyes, they are the enemy.
Okay, I love as they're kind of playing quote unquote the villain, huh?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely sounds intriguing. How would a player progress in this game?
So, similar to a lot of Nintendo's games, you could collect coins. So, if you one smack of a student, you get coins, which, hey, that sounds strange in real life, but you do collect coins to purchase new clothes for the character. And this part is inspired by the game Luigi's Mansion. You can collect keys to go into a new room of the school.
Right, okay.
When you slap the enemies, you can either get coins or new keys, depending on who it is. The story starts off on the 3rd floor of the school, and then ends on the 1st floor. And for extra points, you can smack down random students / teachers that are not, trying to drag this guy out.
For extra points, you just go for the people who aren't even involved.
Yep, that's it.
You're kind of getting some GTA sort of vibes going on.
It's got a bit of a mix here.
That's wild, man. That sounds like an engaging progression system, though. How would you handle the game difficulty? Would there be multiple difficulty levels possible, or
it's kind of? I think you select that in the menu if you want. If you want not many people in the hallways, you can just select it to the lowest point, and then the difficulty level at its highest. Then there's going to be a lot more enemies in the hallways.
Oh my god.
This just sounds like, this. If no one's trying to drag him out, he's like assaulting random students.
Hey, understood. Would it be a locked difficulty, like once you start, or are you able to kind of freely change it around?
I think when you either progress, you could change the difficulty level.
Okay. So it's not going to be easy to, just go from hard to easy to hard to easy. You just kind of have to earn it.
Kind of, and then if you want to make it as difficult as you can, go right ahead.
I would imagine I already know the answer to this one, or at least mostly, but settings. What would the setting of the game be?
So, like I said here, like the prequel of the video, the character can start out as a normal kid in school and then gets bullied by some kids. After that experience, he pulls a 180 and then goes psycho. Shocker, right? He pokes through the custodial room and gets stuck for a bit. Then someone opens the door, and that's when the main character starts freaking out and smacks people with the mop. Anyone he comes across, whether it's a student or a teacher, he'll knock them out. So, I guess it does start out... Actually, well, I think that's like the cutscene where he gets bullied, then goes in the custodial room, which is on the 2nd floor, and then it starts out on the top floor. Yeah.
That's cool and all, but that didn't answer my question.
That's the plot of the...
I said setting.
Right. So it does take place in a high school during school hours, so like 7 to 2.
Okay. So you'll have like a clock system or something where it's like, oh well, it's 2, so no more smacking people with your mouth at 2, right? Like,
yep. So none of that. So it's like you can either skip time or just do free roam around the school. Because instead of going by, kind of like in Grand Theft Auto, instead of going in real time, every like the minutes go by the seconds go by the the minutes go by the seconds, the hours go by the minutes.
Okay.
So it's like either you can do something to skip time or you can just stick around.
You'd say this is more likely to be a modern day sort of scenario. It's not like an 80s vibe or 60s or whatever.
It's like it's kind of, I guess you could say it's like 2010s, because that's when we were in school.
I mean, closer to 20, but like, sure.
Late 2010s to be specific then.
Okay, that's fair. So somewhat modern, but like a little bit of, history stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
To be specific, like 10 years ago, right?
Right.
Hey, that's an interesting setting choice. So for editing purposes, I'm going to say this here, and then I'm gonna try to like adjust the thing that you said to be right here.
Honestly, you could.
I'm going to ask this question and then just stitch what you said before after it. So what's the main storyline or plot? Okay, cut, skip, stitched in.
If you want to do that, I could just say the same thing. I could just say it over again.
I don't want to do that to you unless if you wrote down did you write that whole thing down?
I did write this down, but I'm not gonna. I didn't. Some things I did. Mostly I improvised it, but I.
You know what? I don't want to do that to you. Like, I'll just do the stitch.
Okay.
It's no problem.
Okay. So.
I really liked how you said that. It's just not where you said it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
But yeah. So cutting back in. So that's definitely an interesting premise, though, for a game. I was genuinely shocked at the start, right? But
you didn't know what it was about until
kind of fleshing it out, though. It's kind of fun. This one, I think I kind of can assume what your answer is going to be, but I'll still ask it. Who are the main characters, and could you briefly describe their backgrounds and roles?
So I do have. So I am the main character of this.
You are.
But everyone else, unless I get their permission to make character models out of them, I will probably. So most of the kids are just normal kids in school, but then there's some of them that are just jerks. But their background, I guess, not much to say other than, I'm just a normal person in school, and I just got, bullied by these kids who probably have something going on in that personally, and that's why they're bullies.
Interesting character setup. How detailed is the world building? Are there any distinct cultures, histories, or lore, or is it just kind of a self-contained, only in the building?
It's like self-contained. They're all. I mean, you might find some. Let's see, that's pretty detailed. You can explore the classrooms and look for mini Easter eggs that can be useful, such as an apple on the teacher's desk for restoring health. So essentially there might be things around there that could either help the character stay alive, or, or maybe there's a pair of scissors that you could stab the bullies with, right?
Sure, but are there anything that isn't really, I guess, functional? Would there be like decorational things, like, I don't know, on the wall, like an Einstein poster or something? It doesn't have any.
They might have
do it, but like makes it have a little bit of a different life to every single classroom, maybe.
Think of it as like, you find a poster, you press A to read the info, and then it just gives you a little bit of a history moment lesson.
Go. Nice.
But So yeah, there's that with the yep, you can get different tools to help attack the bullies.
All right. I mean, you can't go wrong with like a self-contained sort of thing, but yeah, I just was kind of wondering if there was like that extra additional, like, I don't know, on one teacher's desk, maybe you see like a photo of a child or something, and it's like, oh, now these people are real or something, right? Like it might have that little extra layer. But no, that's What sort of visual style of the game be? Like, is it gonna be like realistic, maybe cartoony, or like something else?
It's gonna be more so realistic.
More realistic, okay. Any games out there that you're kind of drawing like a similarity between?
Which I do, which I'll probably mention later on, unless you want to hear what the name of it is now.
I mean, like how the characters are designed, like anything that's like they look like. You could say that Psycho Janitor looks like this in terms of their characters.
He looks. I mean, of course, he's gonna look like me.
No, I mean the character designs, not just the janitor. I mean, like everybody in it.
They're gonna look photorealistic.
Like what other game?
There's the game called. You really want me to tell you what the name the game is called?
You don't know the game?
I know.
Okay,
I know the game, but I don't. I'm gonna mention.
Can I start over?
Sure.
Because you're getting your panties in a twist. So, could you name maybe a game that would be similar looking in terms of the characters in it?
I guess it's gonna look more like the game, the Corey.
Oh, interesting. I honestly never heard of that one, so I might have to look that one up. But just to kind of get an idea of what it would kind of look like.
Yeah.
But no, nice. So, what level of graphical detail are you aiming for? Would this be closer to 2D, 3D? Yeah, you said photorealistic. You know what? Editors, cut this out. Yeah, great, Sean. What type of music will the game feature? Will it be composed by anybody, or is it just, stuff that's already out there?
Either I might try to make something specific to the game, unless I find some royalty-free horror game sounding music track and then for the boss fights, it's gonna have some kind of tense or rock music that either I'll make specifically for the game, or it'll be a royalty-free soundtrack.
The sneaky snitch. How important are sound effects in our game?
Oh, if it's the sound effects are just about as important as the graphics are. It's very photorealistic. You want to try to mimic as much as you could. Like if there's somebody's essay was flying around the hallways, you want to mimic the sound of the piece of paper.
And I would imagine that you might be able to hear locker clanking, maybe keys jingling, or maybe footsteps on a creaky floorboard or something.
Or if you're walking by the bathrooms, you hear a toilet flushing.
Every now and then, sure.
Yep. So there's definitely creaking doors, subtle footsteps, or in some cases, a lot of screaming / grunting sounds.
Or maybe hushed breathing, maybe if they're trying to hide, maybe.
Maybe that, and then you hear from me going, "Ah!"
I am now deafened.
You're welcome. Yep, there's your sneak peek.
Hopefully. Engine. What type of engine will it use? Will it use like Unity? Will it use like Unreal or like a third party? Or
It's Unreal because they've had previous experience with first-person games. Although this game isn't necessarily a first-person shooter, this does borrow plenty of elements from them, such as like the first-person point of view. And then when you attack the enemy, you get to kind of get that Call of Duty first-person.
it's an FPM, first-person popper.
Sure. Uh-huh.
That sounds nice.
Mm-hmm. Alright.
That sounds robust.
Yep.
Nice. What are the minimum and recommended system requirements for the game?
Okay, so if you want to play this on the most like modern generation consoles, such as the 9th generation consoles, like PS5, Xbox Series X, that's when you want the optimal results, right? Although you could play this on an 8th gen console like the PS4, Xbox One, but the 9th gen version offers 60 frames per second, which makes the game run smoother. But the 8th gen version runs at 30 frames per second, which can be fine, but it's not going to be as smooth, depending on your preference. But if you're playing this on a PC, however, for optimal results, it's best to play it on a dedicated gaming PC/laptop and must be on Windows 10 or higher. Or if you're a Mac user, you use Mac OS Ventura.
Sounds elaborate.
Yep, so this is definitely... You have options here. This is definitely not something you would want to play on the Switch.
I mean, you did, and you pretty much did end up saying like earlier that you could play it on there, though.
I mean, there's going to be warnings for sure, because this is definitely not a game that you want your toddler to play.
Oh, you were more so saying like warnings for player. I mean, toddlers can play Xbox too.
Yeah, if you give them, Peppa Pig or Paw Patrol on the PS4. But I will already say for this next question is not going to apply to this.
So I'm asking the questions.
Okay.
I mean, do you? That's because the next one that you probably have is if it's multiplayer or not, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah,
I
was going to skip that one because you said no, it's probably not a multiplayer. You said
not
that
multiplayer.
You said that earlier. I know.
Yes.
That's why I was going to be like, nah, I think I'm probably going to skip. See, I know these answers, man. Like,
okay.
I was going to ask you something else. Like, I was going to ask, like, monetization. That's what I'm going to do.
So,
like, I straight up was going to skip that multiplayer infrastructure question.
Okay.
Like, I knew that.
Yep. All right.
So, definitely sounds elaborate and all that. Sounds nice. How'd the game be monetized? Is this like a one-time purchase? Is it free to play with like microtransactions and ads? Or?
Oh no, I want this to be a one-time purchase. Since most of the consumers, they don't want to have to do these extra microtransactions. They just want to be able to own their game as well as not have to pay more than what they initially paid for originally.
So you don't foresee anything that needs to be like DLC or is it going to be like, well, you paid for this whole experience and we'll give you the next stuff for free with it? Is that something that you're going to do?
Maybe I'm leaning more towards that, maybe.
Okay, so free DLC if possible then.
Mm-hmm.
There we go, okay.
All right.
That sounds generous of you. Target audience. Who's the target audience? Like, what's the age demographic or like gaming preferences?
So I'm immediately going to give you the ESPN rating. Rated. It's going to be rated teen, since the setting for this game will be taking place in a high school. Although, what's going to stop younger kids to be playing this game? But ideally, this is for teenagers.
That sounds fair.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's really it for the. I guess that's really it that I have for target audience stuff.
Lovely. Now, how would you plan on marketing your game? Would this be like a social media, like influencer sort of thing, or any trailers? Maybe you're going to like, I don't know, the conventions to kind of, advertise there. How would you do this?
So yeah, I will do a Facebook/Instagram short trailer to post, like a 30-second trailer, and then the way I'm gonna promote this in real life, if I were to do this in real life, it's gonna be quite creative but funny. I'm gonna actually be there with a mop and acting like the character.
So kind of a promotional stunt, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
It's like whenever like a Deadpool came out, I think Ryan Reynolds was in costume and like doing shenanigans to real people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was something that happened.
Yeah, and like, you better be quick and buy your, your psycho janitor shirt / hoodie before I whack you with my mop.
I mean, I'm sure some people will see that as an honor.
Maybe.
I got whacked by the dog. Oh my!
Yep.
Yeah, but for all of you listening, I'm the one who has that honor first.
Yeah. You get honored. You no longer will you have to take a shower because you don't want celebrity germs to get off.
I will never wash the left part of my head.
But yeah, that's gonna. Yep. I've definitely seen. At least I've heard of examples where these guys do some creative stunts to promote whatever thing they got.
Oh yeah.
Yep, so there will be merchandise. There are like shirts, hoodies, etc.
That sounds nice. You think of the keychains that are like, I don't know, just mop.
Maybe a mop, and then you squeeze the mop, and then you hear you hear like a sound clip of me going, "Ah!"
Lovely.
Requires 3 button cell batteries.
Alright, that sounds fun.
Yep.
I would personally not get that keychain, but like, I'm sure there's a market out there.
Just of a mop.
Hey, people like mops. I
guess so.
What features will make the game replayable? Are there like multiple endings, or would it be like procedurally generated content, or something else?
Since the environment is big, there will be tons of areas where the player may not initially spot when playing for the first time. So, honestly, like some of the old, I guess, Nickelodeon games from the 2000s, you can, or just like any game really, doesn't have to be those specific games. So you could revisit those levels. Maybe there's something you didn't see when you first played, so...
Alright, imagine if maybe if you're wearing a different shirt, maybe some other dialogue might be said, or something else different like that, right?
Yep, so you'll find Easter eggs such as more outfits and janitorial equipment.
Alright.
So there's that. And no, you're not gonna take a pair of scissors and slash your enemies with them. This does not count.
Alright. The variety of different outfits and different, I guess, outfits and outcomes.
Right.
Has potential for a unique playthrough, regardless of who's, I guess, in control, right?
Yep.
How will you ensure that your game is accessible to a wider audience? Will there be anything for, like, I guess, colorblind people or like individuals with hearing loss, or different things like that?
So there is something for, there's either they're not completely deaf, and if they are, there is a subtitle option. Unless you were to put on the closed captioning on your television, but we do have the subtitles. And then it's gonna be, it's like any game, I guess, that's got that.
Like, I was close to putting an emoji of like a star right next to this one, because accessibility, if you don't have to worry about accessibility, then good on you. But it's one of those things, everyone should have accessibility, because it just alienates a wide portion of your audience.
I mean,
very
yeah. It also depends on the budget to make this game too. So, I mean, I could, if I wanted to, for the blind people, you know how if you watch a movie, there's always a narrator being like, "Oh, Thanos snapped his thumb." You know how you get that if you were watching a movie blind? Like, that could happen.
I'm sure, like, sometimes just different audio cues might just give what's happening, regardless of if it's actually audio narration or whatever.
Look,
I'm sure
I'll be able to do that.
Nice. Accessibility, just do it if you can, right? Like, I'm not even just talking about you, Dom. I'm just talking to, like, everybody out there. If you're gonna do something, make sure people can listen or watch it or do whatever. Which, I mean, maybe it's I think the YouTube audio, like, automatic captions, I think they exist, right?
There is that, but it's like, how accurate, though, will it be?
That's true. I mean, because sometimes you can say something that's close to something else, then it's like, oh, I did not say that.
The auto captions are not always, accurate, so we're probably going to have a budget for... Yeah, because, now it's like, a lot of games take a long time to develop. I guess my question to you is, would you see this game being a reality?
I would say there's more of a likelihood this one happens than mine, because mine would definitely need a backer. I cannot just do this one myself. Now, with as much effort as you're putting into this one, I would say that we couldn't do this one either by ourselves, but this one has more of a chance.
Yeah.
Because it's a contained area, it's less than... It's way less, man. I would say this one has the most likelihood, though, of being made. But who knows? Maybe the GoFundMe that we probably won't make will raise a lot of money.
Right.
So then we can do this, right?
That'd be fun. But made by Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I guess now this would be a good time to start your version of your concept.
No, because I have more questions.
Okay, what's that?
Really? Like you genuinely don't have all of that? Like I have more questions.
Okay.
Like questionnaire has like I don't know, at least 30 and I only went through 26 of them.
Alright.
What are the biggest challenges that you anticipate in developing this?
I guess making the graphics as real as I could, because honestly, I don't think it takes as much effort to create a 16-bit or 8-bit game. But then when it comes to the 3D style games, then it's going to require a lot more effort to do.
Jeez, I mean, this isn't to say that 2D and 3D isn't also effort, but it would definitely take like a lot more effort to make it photorealistic like that. I guess unless if it was like just video scenes where it's not even like it's actually real people doing this stuff, right? Like maybe that's something.
I mean, unless I would make this an FMV game, which is not going to happen.
Well, I guess there you have that then. How do you plan on gathering feedback during development? Like, any beta testers, maybe focus groups, or just giving it to, I don't know, your family members?
Probably give it to some professional, like, game testers.
Yeah, okay.
And then, if I want to do reviews on the cover, I'm probably going to ask some game journalists, like give them a honest review, not some half-ass one that you see nowadays.
All right. Lovely. This concludes the questionnaire portion of the game, I guess, making. Obviously, like, we could still talk about yours if we wanted to, especially if you thought of anything else that you wanted to add on top of what you just said. Like, anything at all, you could say that right here. Otherwise, we could flip-flop and have you be the questionnaire asker.
So, okay, I do know that I do want this game to be more of a game that you could buy at a store versus online, but there is that option too.
Yeah, you always have to kind of have the option, because, I mean, it's not necessarily your fault if the game store just decides to pull it or decides to say you don't own it anymore, right? Like that wouldn't be your fault. That would be the game store. That would be the game company, not you. So
yeah,
it's always good to have the option of both.
All right.
Do you foresee if somebody does get like a physical version that you do like it comes with the mop keychain, or it comes with, sticker book or whatever, things like that.
Comes with like a keychain with that makes sound.
Yeah, because I remember back with like different Pokemon events, if you pre-ordered like a game, it would give you like, oh, here's a nice little map book. Here's a custom stylus that looks like Reshiram or Zekrom, depending on which one you got. Or, just different events like that, different things. Or it comes with a DS case that looks like, I don't know, Zelda. different things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'd kind of be neat to have like a little keychain that came with it or whatever, right? Do you foresee yourself doing the I signed my name on 50 of them so then you could be in the next Psycho Janitor? You ever do like that?
I could probably do like autographs.
Whatever. Yeah.
Like I can sign your hand, sign your feet. Not your feet, but your head.
Sign my feet with a pair of scissors.
No, whatever. If you have a copy of the game, just sign it right there. Sign it on the back of it. Alright, so what's the title of your game this time?
My game title, or at least the working title, of course, I could change it every now and then or whatever, but my working title that I really like is Project SPY.
Project Spy?
Well, no, it's S.P.Y. Of course, yes, those letters do spell out spy, but Project SPY.
So, what would your primary and secondary genre be for your game?
I would say stealth mostly, but a bit of RPG, puzzle, and action adventure. I also want to include a little bit of like random minigames or side missions that might kind of feel like a different genre, but mostly mostly stealth, RPG, puzzle, action adventure.
All right. So, another question I have here is, how does the player progress in the game? For example, leveling up, unlocking new areas, or perhaps the story progresses. Perhaps maybe your character gets more buff.
Yeah, something like that. That would kind of be considered leveling up, though, wouldn't it? Or
sure,
or I guess powering up, whatever. But in essence, it's pretty much with story and unlocking like new areas. Whichever comes first, though. Ideally, there could be many different locations that one can freely go, with a few like locked behind different story gaps, right? It's almost like a true open world with some linear stuff. I mean, that's kind of inevitable almost, but like there are no levels. It's just kind of a difficulty scale at the beginning, right? You have that. Oh, let's do easy mode, right? Like, right? Let's do medium. Let's do hard, challenge, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But progression, mostly story and unlocking new areas.
There we go.
Because I want these things to kind of be almost able to be enjoyed straight out the bat, right? Like straight off. You might still have to do like a tutorial sort of area, but like after that initial proof of concept, then go and do whatever you want, sort of deal.
Just yeah. So funny how you mentioned like difficulty or something. How will your game even handle difficulty?
Right. A lovely segue there. Pretty much multiple, like I just said, but it would be picked at the start and could not be changed after, unless if there's a full restart. I just think it's a better idea to kind of lock somebody into the path that they picked initially. I could be swayed to allow changing difficulty though, but like initially my idea is just lock them in, right? You pick easy, it's easy for the whole time, right? Or you pick medium, it's medium for the whole time. I just think it would kind of be a little bit interesting, but I mean, I suppose that does alienate a few people, which, you know what, like, difficulty is something where I could be swayed into having it be a free for all. Like, oh, you can freely choose at any time if it's easy or medium or challenge, right? So yeah, multiple, but yeah.
There we go. So, another question I have is, what is the setting of your game? So...
So essentially, there will be many different locations in this. It's most, I mean, comparable to yours, right? Comparable to what is it? Gotta cut this out. There we go. Comparable to Psycho Janitor series. It's more of a modern day sort of Earth, right? But. Or I mean, at least it will be when we record this episode, right? Like, as of today, right? Who knows? Who knows if in 2 weeks it's going to change, right? But no, as of today, it is this Earth as it is, kind of right now, right? And it's kind of dependent on what the player wants to do. There will be different opportunities to go to different areas that, quote unquote, have no purpose too, right? So, if you wanted to just do some sightseeing, you can. That's not really the point of the game, but you can just look at different things.
That kind of brings me to another personal question that I have. Is this kind of also open world? Or...
Yeah.
So...
Straight up, yeah. I mean, like I said before, there's a little bit of like a linear path with some storylines, but I overall want it to be something where if you decide to go to Botswana one day, like in the game, to do a mission or 2 or 3 or I don't know, 500 missions in Botswana if you wanted to, you could. But you could also decide to, I don't know, today be in, I don't know, San Antonio, Texas, and then tomorrow be straight in the middle of, I don't know, Shanghai, right? Like, there's different areas if you wanted to. There's probably like a currency system set up where it's like you might not be able to do something, but I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. You just go wherever you want, sort of deal. Do whatever you want. Whatever missions are up there, you do it.
That's cool. So
definitely open world.
That's good.
As much as possible, anyway.
But I guess, disregarding open world, what is the main storyline or plot about?
What is the main storyline? Hope you have 5 hours, because I'm gonna take 5 hours from you. No, just kidding. I could probably do this in,
5 minutes?
I could probably do it in 5 minutes or less. So essentially, the player is a retired spy from an underground organization that gets thrusted into the business again. Nobody else could compete. Rather, nobody else could complete the missions as well as the player. That's part of the story, right? Like, nobody else in the organization is as great as you, right? Like, after all, right? And from there, it's completing agency missions, maybe personal missions, side quests and missions, etc. I don't know, you might even be able to make your own missions in there too, which I have no idea how that's going to be implemented, but hey, maybe there is room for personal missions. I don't know. That's a very summarized version of my thoughts for this, but yeah, that's essentially it.
It's like a spy that's retired, but now kind of going back into the spy.
Yeah, it gets without going into 5-hour mode.
Yeah.
it's kind of something where it's like something messed up really happens, and they're kind of just thrust back into it. It's like, oh, well, I get the gravity of the situation. Obviously, I'm the spy to go. I'm retired, but I mean, I'll go back because I'm the one you need.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Alright, so I'm curious about who the main character is and what their backgrounds and roles are.
I'm gonna stop acting surprised because I know the question. I'm the one who made it.
But still,
yeah. I mean, well, the main character is pretty much made with a character creation tool, right? So pretty much custom. It's not something where it's like, oh, you know what they look like ahead of time. There might be a pre-made skin or whatever, but like, it's pretty much a character creation thing, right?
so yeah,
The player's able to name them, design, whatever, whoever, and other than them, like the boss will be only communicating with like a message on the screen. Nobody will know who the boss is until the end, whenever something pretty cool happens. I will not elaborate because that gets into spoiler zones.
Yeah.
Spoiler zones for a game that doesn't exist, right?
yeah.
Might never exist.
I'll spoil it in my own head.
But of course, the like R&D NPCs, right? Basic grunts that like look indistinguishable, that look indistinguishable from other grunts, right? Like, for other people, right? Certain countries and areas, the demographic could reflect on what it is like in real life. So, if you were to go, and I'm just gonna make up something right here, if you were going to go to like New York, you might have like a very diverse set of NPCs around. But if you're to go somewhere, I don't know, like a tribe in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, then it's probably gonna be one type of demographic or whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just various different types of people and various different types of characters are like in this sort of game, right? There are definitely going to be some people with any affliction that you could think of, right? Like some amputee characters, right? Some wheelchair-bound, crutched, just different things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, main character though, pretty much whatever you want, almost.
That's cool. So honestly, if I wanted Winnie the Pooh, could I make him?
With the caveat of, I think it has to be a person, but like, I'm not gonna stop you if you wanted to put like a yellow bear hat or something.
Okay, so I could
but
make.
It's still gonna be a person, right?
So I could use Christopher Robin then if I wanted.
You can remake whoever you want as close as you can, but it's and I mean it's limited to like a person.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, could it be funny if like
if you do a Gmod,
like a freaking real life Bowser or something? Like he's the only monster in the world.
I'm sure somebody will make a Gmod and do Bowser.
You know what? Modding and stuff like that. I actually didn't ask you about like mods and stuff like that, but as it stands right now, my idea for mods would be if there's something that magically isn't already in this game, then go ahead and go nuts, right? I mean, the characters, that's just personal preference. I just kind of want the people to look like people, but you know what? If you wanted to code into the game yourself, like, I'm playing as I don't know, a rotating fan.
A rotating fan.
A rotating fan, right?
A sentient,
Oscillating.
anthropomorphic fan.
Right.
Ah.
If somebody wanted to, I won't stop them, but like, maybe experience the game a little bit as a human before a fan.
What's that movie where there's that anthropomorphic toaster?
Oh, I mean, I don't think I know the one that you're talking about, but
the brave little toaster.
That's not the one I was gonna say. I was gonna say the Oddballs. You know, the Odd Ones Out. Yeah, it's like a Netflix show, and there's a sentient toaster. It's fine.
So, okay. Next thing on sure. Okay, so how detailed is the world building? Are there distinct cultures, histories, and a whole lore behind it?
Long story short, yes, but I would definitely say it's diverse. You pick up on some organization lore, some like details about the spy company or organization, right? You'd kind of get a little bit of interpersonal beef with different customers or victims or sometimes coworkers, right? Some people in real life don't like violence to be the end-all be-all, but like some of the others don't mind, so some missions might be a little difficult for somebody who might be all guns a-blazing. But in order to get the money at the end of the day, you kind of have to make the customer happy with what you did, right? With how you solve these different missions that happen, whether it's like protect this target, or eliminate this target, or just infiltrate and get data, or whatever, right? Sky's the limit type of thing. But long story short, you can learn a lot of different things. Some things based on reality, and some things obviously made up for the game. But like, you can in this game, if you wanted to. I definitely want it to be something where you could just learn history, like real life history, if you wanted to. Just by picking up some pieces. That could be like a side story or whatever, right? But it was something that you wanted to do. I guess, why not, right?
Sure. I mean, it's like, kind of ironic enough since, the video games would distract you from, like, reality.
I mean, it's definitely something where it's like, sometimes it could be hard to pull yourself away from something like this. This one definitely has, like, potential of being, like, a life stealer, I guess. Would be a good way to refer to it. Like, some other things like League of Legends and, like, World of Warcraft, that's a life stealer, where it's like the people who are in it are like, well, I guess I'm clocking in for my 18-hour shift at this game, which I couldn't imagine doing. I mean, mainly because I don't really see LOL or WOW as appealing. I just don't really think I do the MMO type of stuff, but that's neither here nor there. But definitely, you could learn different things, whether it's what your coworker's favorite color is, or what conflict led to this area to look like this, and how does this knowledge help your mission success? It's different things like that.
Okay. Alright, so what do you think the visual style of your game will be?
Now, similar to yours, more realistic than not, but you could still tell that it's animated. Like, as to kind of counter the uncanny valley. It would kind of be what I would consider would be something closer to a GTA or like a Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that's the one. Where it's like you can tell it's obviously like a cartoon person, but it's like, yeah, that's, you know what, that's pretty okay.
it's like,
That's nice. Like,
there you go, perfect. Yeah.
it's like if you wanted to, you can easily dress as a character in the game, right? It's not something where it's like, that's not Charlie Brown, right? Like,
Nope. Well, it could be Charlie Brown, but it could be Lucy.
I'm probably gonna cut out the Charlie Brown stuff because what?
I don't know, but okay. Graphic time. What level of graphical detail are you aiming for? Whether that's 2D, 3D, or photorealistic. But I mean, I kind of got an answer, but
I would say 3D would probably be closer to what it is, but you know, it'll still kind of look ish real, right? Like you can see where it's coming from.
Well, alright, that was quick. What type of music will your game feature? Whether, that's a final boss or just a standard mission, or, another thing is, who's going to compose it?
So many different questions there. So I guess I'll start with the first part. It kind of does depend on which country or like areas that you're in, but like mostly it would kind of mostly be like 007, sort of like cool spy espionage type of like action sort of style, right? So something that like a cool spy would enter the stage to, right? And whoever honestly could make the cool set of tunes. I'm kind of thinking of Zach Haiti, but I mean, I just think it would be kind of cool to work with like a YouTube composer, right? But like, am I gonna pass on the opportunity for like a John Williams or something? Like, no. But I think, and this is just me, I just think it would kind of be neater to kind of have like, oh, these are all made by YouTuber, like musicians. And then other than like the new sort of things that are composed by different people, I'd probably go with like, stock ones or like, royalty free or like public domain sort of things as well. But honestly, it just kind of depends on what area that you're in, mostly. Like, I'm not going to do something very like action adventure type of sound if it's a stealth mission that you're in, I don't know, the middle of nowhere, right? Like, it kind of has to match the area and mission. But yeah, I would say like a YouTube sort of composer. This is a side tangent, but do you know who Zach Haiti is?
I can't say I do.
Actually, I think you do.
Maybe.
Because I think I sent you like a piano thing where he and Frank, it's like Frank and Zach, were playing like, I think like a Mario song or something. They both did a lot of things together. I think they're both like busy doing their own things now, so I don't think they do a lot together, but yeah. That's a sidebar. That's a sidebar. I could probably give you another video. They're entertaining.
So I guess I guess you're leaning more towards, YouTube compositions.
I just because I just think there's a lot of talent out there that, if you can give people the ability to rise to the occasion, then I'm sure they will, right?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, of course, if you want it to be specific to your game, you can send them the music, send them the notes, and have them try to make it for you. That would be cool.
I mean, like, it's one of those things. It's a big game. I would even argue that it's like a bigger game than yours, just simply because it's not just one location, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this one, if you wanted to, you could spend the whole, 500, 1,000, 2,000 hours just in one location if you wanted to, and still have it not run out, right? Like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with that in mind, you could spend 2,000 hours in one location, but there's got to be enough music at that one location, plus multiply that by, I don't know how many locations are there in the world, like in modern day Earth. I don't know.
Times that by 4, you get like 8,000. Like,
I mean, well, not 8,000. It's not 8,000 gameplay hours. It's locations I'm talking about.
8,000 locations.
It's like, I don't know how many locations there are in the world. Like, there are like, 200 countries, let alone like different areas that technically aren't owned by a country, or like also counting like different water areas or inhabitable lands, right? Like just different things in the world, right?
Yeah.
This world is so big, and just, one composer might not be able to do every single thing, so I think it could kind of be cool to branch out to different composers and be like, hey, you, Egyptian composer, can you do the Egypt one? Perfect. No.
But since we're in that kind of sound sort of thing, how important are the sound effects in your game?
Honestly, I think a deaf person could enjoy it, right? Sound adds ambience, and it does add a layer of emotion sometimes, but it's not the end if it isn't heard. That said, for people who can hear, it'd be as real as you possibly could be. So I guess, another thing that's similar to the psychojanitor sort of thing. Like, if you are stepping down some wooden stairs, it's going to sound like wooden stairs and not metal ones, or you're not going to
be hearing, clown nose when you step on a wooden board.
Like, you will be able to hear like, a mouse squeaking if you just happen to, see some old abandoned house or whatever that like a mouse is like running out of. Sure, like you'd hear different things like that. As real as possible, maybe tense moments, it might have some deep breaths, or like, different audio that might play like a rapid heartbeat. Or if you're teaming up with an NPC, maybe the NPC says some different things and does things differently. The clack of a gun being reloaded for a mission. The spritz of chloroform or whatever. And just different things out there. And that's not even talking about, just background noise, like, the bird in the background or the wind rustling through the trees. It's going to be very important, but again, if you're deaf, you don't need it, right?
Yeah. Alright. So, next thing here. What would the game engine be? Whether that's Unity or Unreal Engine.
Well, those are only two. There are so many engines out there. But I say that, but really I don't know. I mean, I just think something that something that would kind of be able to host like a big sort of project. I really don't mind what sort of engine it is, just as long as it could host a really beefy project like this. I'm not like brand loyal or whatever. It can be Unity, it can be Unreal, it can be something else that's out there, but I'm not too picky as long as it can be hosted on it, really.
Alright, so next thing I have here, which, yeah, you probably know, but I'm going to ask you anyways. What are the minimum and recommended system requirements for your game?
So, mainly it would just kind of have to be, I would assume, like, honestly, that's kind of like, I would say, the hardest question on this one to answer, at least towards this one, because I kind of don't. I mean, I guess you kind of have to get into it a little bit to kind of be able to know for sure. But ideally, it would kind of, be out there in the public without any problems, right? Like, if a system update is required, then, like, okay, cool, but from that point, I would hope that it works in the next update, sort of deal, right? Like, I don't think, yeah,
Alright.
I don't really think I can really answer that one, really, because requirements, like, I would say maybe at the minimum, which I guess is the question, the minimum requirement would be as long as it could handle this beefy project, which is the same answer I gave the last time, but, like, that's really it. Like, as long as it can handle it, go ahead.
Alright. So your game is both single player and multiplayer. So for your multiplayer part, what infrastructure will support it?
So with multiplayer stuff, reaction time tends to be an important feature, right? So as long as it doesn't lag out or really delay in any way, or at least in a critical way, then I guess it will be fine. But I mean, I did say earlier that like 25% of this game can be multiplayer, though really mostly all of it can be done solo, so you don't need it. But if you do want to, just, I'd say probably like peer-to-peer, right? Like,
Alright.
I just think it would be a better experience overall if you take away the online feature, right?
Yeah.
Because peer-to-peer, if you and the other person is plugged in, or not even plugged in, but like, logged in right there, then you don't need a tremendous amount of, connection, right? Like, as soon as you load it, wow. Getting something in my throat. Weird. As soon as you introduce like any different connectivity sort of requirements for a multiplayer thing, there's going to be lag. There's going to be delay. So just to kind of try to minimize that as much as possible, I would say peer-to-peer is the only way that it's going to work. I know it does suck for the people who genuinely can't experience a multiplayer with, with somebody in real life, but you play it solo if you wanted to. The full thing if you wanted to. Yeah.
Alright. So, how will your game be monetized?
You really don't sound like you want to be here.
Oh no, I'm just, I guess I'm just too relaxed, but...
Well, I would say it's a one-time purchase with DLC for possible collaborations or, like, cosmetic stuff. This is definitely... I wouldn't even consider this, like, a pay-to-win sort of style at all. Like, you're not gonna be able to win big time if you pay $50 to, buy a different thing. This would all just be cosmetics, mostly, and then, like, if there is room for, like, a DLC sort of thing, like, here's an idea that it kind of had a thought.
Yeah.
Like, now, if, and this is just throwing out, like, a very, very, like, hard collaboration, but I'm not gonna say it's impossible. Let's just say that maybe Nickelodeon reaches out and wants to put, say, a Nickelodeon show.
Mm-hmm.
That's a question. Like, name a Nickelodeon show.
My Life as a Teenage Robot?
Sure. If we wanted to put My Life as a Teenage Robot sort of like as a collaboration between this Project SPY and My Life as a Teenage... You really named one that's a tongue twister to say, right?
Yeah.
No, but if we put maybe that high school or maybe that mall or whatever as just an area, a special area as like a DLC sort of thing, yeah, I guess you could do like a mission or two, or maybe 50. Maybe you could do a lot in there, but in that type of place, right? But I mean, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but it's very unlikely that somebody's gonna run out of content that fast in order to need a DLC from a DLC collaboration, right? Whatever it ends up being.
Yeah.
It is a lot of stuff. Like, you might be underestimating what it is. It's a lot.
Yeah, sounds like it is.
Like, you could just spend 2,000 hours in one area if you wanted to, right? That's not even counting you could go everywhere in the world.
Alright.
You could go everywhere in the world, multiply that by 2,000 hours, and oh boy.
Yeah. There we go.
That's big.
Sounds like it is. Okay. Who's the target audience for your game?
I would say teen and up. There are definitely themes and words in this that I doubt would hit the E audience.
Or not even E10 and up?
I wouldn't even say E10 and up, because I definitely want a mission or two to physically say shit, or like, just different things like that, because part of, let's just say, the real world, part of life as an earthling that is over the age of 18, at least in America, would be would be that, if you heard my sound. would be something that you would find in a red light district, right? And you get it, okay. There's scenes that will be in naughty areas. I don't think a 10-year-old should go to a strip club. Straight up. I don't think that should happen even in game.
Yeah, I would be like, yeah, goodbye.
Like,
Or cover your
SPY? Nah, you gotta be teen, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that. Or parents, cover your kids' eyes.
Oh, if they were doing that, then they would have to gouge their kids' eyes out because it's gonna be almost everywhere.
There ain't gonna be red. It ain't gonna be red lights. It's gonna be red blood everywhere now.
Yeah, I mean, like, mild gore is stuff that you'd possibly see in like an E10 sort of thing. Like, it's not impossible to think of like a 10-year-old being like, oh, that's just mild blood, or like a nosebleed, but like viscerally ripping out, like, I mean, eyeballs, right? Like, that's not something that you'd really be fine with a 10-year-old knowing. Although that is a different topic that we could definitely get into at a different time. Like, you know, are kids growing up too soon, sort of thing? That's a topic for later. But it's definitely teen enough. Like, it has no business being a Y7 or whatever.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Or just a Y. But,
I mean, NR maybe, no rating or something.
Yep.
Because it's so in contention, right? Like,
So now that makes me wonder, how do you plan on marketing this game?
we plan on going to educational facilities like elementary school. No, just kidding.
Well,
we plan. I will actually try to do like a commercial sort of thing. Maybe some booths at different conventions. And I did say earlier I kind of wanted to focus on like the YouTube sort of like composers. I'd kind of try to do like letting some YouTubers play like early demos or early versions or something like that. Maybe social media stuff, which won't just end at Instagram and Facebook stuff. For me, I wouldn't be pulling the stops. I'd go everywhere. I would put something on Quora. Hey, I'm the game dev for Project SPI. Ask me anything.
or how about this? Would you have Mr. Beast or Bear Grylls play this game?
You know what? I'll do better. I will give them both voice lines, right?
So they can be in the game.
Is in it, right? There you go. Your task is to spend 24 hours underwater. Whoa.
Wow.
Jeez, he almost, different challenges he's done. He's almost died. I mean, like, he's kind of perfect for Project SPY, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And Bear Grylls too, right? Like,
he'd be
like drinking those too.
He'd like doing real life sort of scenarios.
I mean, okay, thinking about it now, that would be a great Mr. Beast video. Just Project SPY. Complete different missions and, don't get caught and get paid.
Or
that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Or have Mr. Beast play like in a random elementary school being a psycho janitor.
I think he would do well as that role. He kind of feels like you.
I guess so.
Or I guess you kind of feel like him because he's older, right?
I guess, sure. Yeah. Okay, so what features of your game will make it replayable?
I mean, the sheer amount of possible missions, like different outfits, playstyles, side mini games, maybe Easter eggs, etc. It would be enough alone to just have a replay. I do imagine one playthrough being mostly unique from every other playthrough that just exists. I mean, just with the sheer amount of possibilities, right? There's probably some overlap, sure. I mean, it's kind of hard to have a completely unique playthrough of something.
Yeah.
Like, even just throwing out something like Minecraft, right? Like, that's hard to have a totally unique experience. You could change it up, obviously, and you could set different challenges that maybe other people don't do, but at the end of the day, like, if you make a hut that is made of dirt, well, guess what? So as, like, 50 million other people, right? Like, or something like that, right? But I would say overall playthroughs, though, like, a lot of them just will not look the same. At least once it actually begins, because I did say there's like a tutorial sort of thing, but after the tutorial or first inaugural mission or something, maybe everybody will maybe do the same sort of thing at the start, but then they'll have the idea, let's go far away. Like, some people like to do the linear stuff, and some people will try to break it as much as possible, right? Like, Breath of the Wild was something where it's like, they told you in Kakariko Village to go to Va Ruta first, which is in, as you know, you've played the game before, right?
Probably just a little bit on the demo in the store.
Which, I mean, like, that's the elephant sacred beast, right? They kind of direct you towards that one. Except, well, guess what? They're not locked. Like, you could go to Von Naboris if you wanted, or Rudania, or Meadow, right? Like, you could, but a lot of people's first one that they ever do will probably be the elephant, because that's the one that the game says, hey, try going this one. There you go. So I would imagine that a good percentage of people might have, like, similar playthroughs for a while, because they might be like, oh, this city is right next to this one. Let's go to this one. Great. Meanwhile, you can, if you wanted to, go to India instead. Just different areas, right?
Yeah. So, how will you ensure your game is accessible to a wider audience? And
so, for all the colorblind people, they could have the colorblind toggles. I've seen that all over the place. Like, if you have Deuteronomy, you could have a nice little toggle that says, I have Deuteronomy, or whatever, and it will automatically convert the colors to something more palatable. I would say, text size can be adjusted. So if somebody is hard of seeing, then, they could always have big text if they wanted to. They could obviously turn off text if they don't think they need it. There'd be voice acting. Like I said, Bear Grylls and Mr. Beast could possibly be in it, right?
Yeah.
There'd be subtitles, there'd be different languages that are supported, just as well as the ability to ask, like, the boss to repeat what they said last session in case it wasn't long enough to forget, right? Like, I would say, like a boss memory jog, right? Because sometimes, I don't know if you've experienced this, but there are sometimes games where you just boot it up after a while, and you're like, what was I doing? What even is this anymore? And then it's like, I just rather restart, because I have no idea what's happening. I would have, like, a system in place that would tell you when you logged in what mission you were doing, or maybe like have a section where it's like a logbook, or it's like you could read through what you did, or like different control setting, where it's like you could read through what the controls were that you already learned, and different things like that. And I just think that a lot more games need to have like a jog your memory sort of thing. Like, this is the step you were on, or these are the controls you forgot, or whatever, right?
Yeah. I see. So, okay, so what makes your game stand out from others in the same genre?
I love how you're still just only talking. You're still just asking those questions. That's fine.
Like,
No, it's fine. I mean, like, if you don't have any questions, then I'm not going to force you to think of one. Right? Like,
I don't have any right now.
Mostly it's going to be something like an open world sort of thing that has spy shenanigans, right? Dang near free to do mostly whatever you want, right? Yes, you can even be a maniac and different people if you wanted to. I mean, you can do whatever you want. I would compare this to something like, honestly, like a Dungeons and Dragons experience.
Or how about... Okay, so is this gonna be like a Grand Theft Auto situation where you kill enough people and then the cops come after you?
I would say there's a chance that stuff like that could happen, because time and time again you see different things where it's like, this person didn't get away with something, right? But then sometimes you don't hear about anything because, well, maybe it didn't happen. So I would imagine, like, in this world, right, you're the only spy from this organization that's left, or that is good enough to do these extreme missions. So if you screw up, maybe it will be harder for you to get away with it. But will it be impossible to get away with it? No. You could probably, if you wanted to, bribe a politician to, let you go or something, or, different various things like that. But I wouldn't say that it automatically gets assigned to you like a GTA sort of thing, right? Like, to my knowledge, a GTA thing is like, you kill 5 people, even if there was no other pedestrian around, you automatically have, a red circle around you or something, like you're being hunted, right? Like, even if it was doesn't matter if it was crowded or not, right? Like, it would just be on you. It's not like that. There will be, like, a proximity sort of thing, like, if there genuinely could have been, like, witnesses to something, then you possibly could get in trouble a little bit. But if there's nobody there, like, middle of the woods with no houses around, it's just dense forest, maybe you get away with things more. We don't need to talk about the sinister stuff, but, like, it will let you do pretty much whatever you wanted. And I mean, I think it offers a great escape into maybe trying different things that you wouldn't or you couldn't do in real life, right?
Yeah. So, okay.
Oh, crap, man. The energy is just not there.
Well, I mean, if I was, okay, well, that makes me, I guess that will inspire me to have some caffeine. Speaking of inspiration, what games or other media inspired your game?
I'm gonna kind of turn this around on you. I'm gonna ask you, what do you think inspired me for this one?
I guess it does have a mix of guess there's a mix between Grand Theft Auto and then there's some certain RPG games like Super Mario RPG. Well, I know you didn't. I know you don't know the core is, so I'm not gonna say, "Oh, did you get inspiration from that game?"
I went back in time and educated myself 2 weeks ago about what that game is. Nah.
But honestly, there's a lot of games that probably got a lot of inspiration from. Otherwise, you wouldn't have created this game.
And there you go. That's a good answer right there. There's a lot of different places of inspiration for this because, well, I did say there's also minigames too that don't technically have anything to do with any of the missions or, storylines. So, could there be just a segment where you're just, I don't know, you're playing whack-a-mole? Sure, right? But, mostly it's stuff like Metal Gear Solid with, the infiltration sort of stuff. You did say GTA, but, like a GTA sort of thing, like a 007 type of thing. Various different anime series. Funny enough, Master of Disguise with Dana Carvey. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but, a bit of, the Superman or, Batman sort of stuff. And once again, that's not counting, mini games, which really there'd be too many sources or different, media to even mention, right? Mm-hmm. This list we would be here for 5 more hours, right?
Yeah.
On this one alone, because there are going to be, mini games and different things that are inspired by different medias.
Yeah. So I do have, I guess, a question about, the health system thing. Does your game do you have only limited amount of lives until it's game over, or when you die, do you just there's infinite lives?
Good question. I genuinely didn't even think about that one, really. So I guess on the spot right now, I guess I could come up with a health system. I do like the idea that it is a realistic type of thing, that it is a restart once you perish, but honestly, with how big it is, it probably has to be just something where it's I don't know, probably something where it's you just respawn, maybe with less money, or maybe with some sort of penalty taken away, because it's a big game, right? And it's not something to just literally make them restart, losing possibly thousands of hours of their life. That wouldn't go over well. So it probably has to be something like a penalty that. Maybe, okay, how about this? You get shot in a mission or something, and you get sent to the company, right, the organization, and you get to play things while you're being treated for your wounds or whatever, right? You're not going to be able to die, but maybe you're badly injured enough to be able to explore the organization a little bit more, or I don't know, explore different things. Oh my god, you're beep beep.
Okay.
Silence your ding dings.
Hey, there's a lot of ding dings and beep beeps in video games, so.
But I don't want your ding ding to be in my ding.
Okay. Carry on.
But yeah, there's probably just going to be something where it's you get to explore the hospital or the organization, the spy organization, a little more while he recovers. So then at least it's not boring, right? At least it's not something like that. So it will take you away from the mission that you currently were on, if you are on one.
Yeah.
So you can explore a different area that you may or may not have done before, or whatever. I mean, like, I think that would be interesting.
Oh, I see. So, what are the biggest challenges you anticipate in developing this game?
I don't know anything about game development. That's number one right there. I don't know who to speak to or like how to code. I mean, I guess I know a little bit of HTML, but you know, website making doesn't really help this. At least that much. And
Would you
like this is only for like a podcast episode anyway. But yeah, you know, like the fact still stands. Like I can provide the ideas, but I cannot implement them.
Would you reach out to like THQ or Activision that maybe they'll help out?
I mean, if I'm serious about this, then I'll reach out to anybody that I can. I'd reach out to Rooster Teeth. Well, not Rooster, because I think they're not a company anymore. I would reach out to even like the Corridor crew, because they do different like technology sort of stuff. Honestly, yeah, I think the Corridor crew would be awesome with this.
I see. All right. So, I guess following up on that, how do you plan on gathering feedback during development?
Convention focus groups, some like YouTuber beta testers, right?
It's like the voice actors that you'll have.
I mean, if okay, like a lot of times, like voice actors get like a role or something, and they're not able to, you know, discuss different things. I don't think I would give like voice actors the ability to play the game. Otherwise, they would know like absolutely everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would say if they're a voice actor, then they only know what they read.
Yeah. So
if they're a beta tester, then they might not, you know, have every single thing possible. I will say, regardless, though, the NDA type of stuff it gotta be a thing, right? Like non-disclosure agreements. People are signing that shit. And if people, you know, say what's up, there's gonna be some repercussions. I mean, I did say, like, you know, giving YouTubers the chance to play early, that doesn't mean record or live stream. No. I'm giving them a chance to, like, you know, play it and maybe document their journey and then maybe upload it the day that it comes out or something. But no, they're not live streaming it, but they could play it. Why not, right?
sure. All right. I see.
But like maybe like keep like set up a demo or something to keep like, intrigue without like some of the major spoiling, maybe.
Yeah.
Good ways of feedback there.
There we go. So, looks like. So I guess that is complete. I guess we completed the questionnaire.
We completed the questionnaire, but it's
Unless I have.
not going to stop you from, you know, asking other questions.
Okay. What's your... Okay, then. Do you... So I guess this is kind of a honorable mention to the question 3. Do you plan on having an arcade version of this game?
I just don't think it would work. No.
I see. Okay. So you said this is just the working title.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the title as it is, but like, if I was to make this, I would try to maybe think of something that could be better, right? But for now, I mean, like, if I can't think of anything else, then sure, Project SPY.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, we do have our games that would be... I mean, these games sound like they could actually be a real game.
Yeah, I'm kind of proud of both of those. Like, it actually does. Yours sounds fun in a different way that mine does, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they both offer something different, and that's nice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would do an arcade version of the Psycho Janitor game.
Though I do think that one has more to offer an arcade experience.
If you had a...
wouldn't.
Like, you know how instead of, those big joysticks that you see in the arcade, you get this, like, mop-shaped joystick.
Maybe.
I mean, if you're in one of those, yeah, I mean, that would be funny. But, do you plan on your game being more of a digital release only, or both?
So, I will be cutting that part out because it was already answered last night.
Okay, well, anyways, but, honestly, this did take about 2 weeks to make.
Yeah, but both of it, well, I think actually the only one who kind of took a long time was you. I went ham with this.
Yeah.
Like, I did, like, I think I did this in, like, 1 or 2 days. And, like,
Yeah.
maybe, I think actually less than 1 day, really. Like, I think all it took me was, like, 2 hours to just clear some time and just do it. But no, I mean, everybody works at their own pace, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? I can say that I like both of ours enough to maybe be able to do this again, but I'm just gonna say it's gonna be a long way away from doing a part 2, from doing another one of these.
Yeah.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
But no, I guess I could ask a sort of a question that I had kind of about yours. Do you think yours would have any, like, celebrity cameos or whatever in it?
I think I did kind of mention a little bit before that, I guess there's the iCarly crew member.
Right, yeah, I did mention that.
And then I'm supposed to slap, like, one of them while Freddy's counting down.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of thinking, like, not as, like, a character cameo, just a voice actor sort of deal where it's like, oh, geez, this is, I don't know, Richard Nixon. And he plays the principal or something, right? Like, just, a random person.
If I'm gonna have a principal in this game, I could probably... It would be cool to have Bill Burr play the principal. And... Yeah, and he's just, like, screaming at you. It's like, get the hell out of the school, or I'm... Either I'll roundhouse your ass or I'm calling the cops.
Huh. Yeah, I guess I could kind of see that. Yeah.
He has played funny roles like as parental figures in a movie. So
I've definitely seen him in a few things, right?
So I think he would play a good principal.
Yeah. Oh, how about this? What do you think? How would you think your reaction would be if you saw somebody like, I don't know, doing fan art or like cosplaying or like doing something to appreciate your game, right? How would you think you'd feel?
I'd feel, I guess, appreciated, and it's like, wow, I wasn't expecting, this many people to like the game, or if at all.
Right, yeah. Because I would imagine it just kind of feels pretty neat to be like, I did that and you like it.
I guess. How would you feel if somebody did that to your Project Spy game?
Remember Project SPY? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are still going to call it Project Spy anyway, but like, it is SPY. I would imagine the same sort of thing. It's like just a sense of pride, right? It's like something I did that I like, other people like, and wish that I did this sooner or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. But it's like, of course, I probably wouldn't have much worse to be like, wow, thank you for appreciating my game.
How would you feel if you straight up like won video game of the year or something?
Like, honestly, I wouldn't necessarily have a heart attack, but I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe I would. Yeah.
Same sort of thing, yeah. Because like, it's big. I'd probably be like, since mine is big, I'd probably be like, whoa, yeah, this makes it all worth it, sort of deal, right?
Maybe you want to see this as a feature film and actually get all those, reach out to those guys and have them play as their roles in live action.
Yeah, that's possible.
Because they already did a Gran Turismo live action movie last year. And
that
Uncharted was made into a movie. And
I also heard that.
Yeah. And I'm sure most of you know this, Mario now has a movie.
I mean, there's also Mortal Kombat, there's Street Fighter, there's, let's see, I want to say also, League of Legends with the Arcane, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many other things? Probably a lot more. Pokemon has some like live action movies and whatever. Detective Pikachu, right?
Well, I think that's the second feature film that they made for the Pokemon franchise.
Oh, there's more. You're not in the community. I know that, but there's more, man. It's not just that. Trying to think. There's probably there are billions, probably. Well, not billions, but there are probably more than 100 like video game movies or shows out there that are either great or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Varying degrees. But no. This was genuinely a fun experience. I know you kind of lost your energy in this half. You didn't have as much energy as you did last half. Although,
I guess you could say Maybe Kirby sucked it out of me. Right? No.
Gross. But,
No, but it's honestly, this definitely was a bit of a, not necessarily a challenge because it was not that difficult to, but it was also fun.
I mean, it's your ideal, or it's an ideal, because maybe you have another ideal game out there where it's like, oh, well, here's my ideal puzzle game or something, right? Like, you might have different ideals out there, but this was just kind of like a creative experiment for us to just be like, oh, we like playing them. What would it be like to just sit through and conceptualize 2 of them? And so I just thought, hey, we could do it.
Well, yeah. All right, that was it. It was fun.
I guess stay tuned 20 years from now to see if these games are actually a reality.
And maybe by then we'll have holographic games.
Right. And maybe by then we could have a system that actually has the ability to play every single game. Yeah?
Yeah.
So something where it's like, if you wanted to play a DS game and then an Xbox One, you could play it on the same system. That would be neat, but I understand it would probably never happen.
Well, it definitely takes a lot of, behind-the-scenes engineering, probably.
Not just that, but like making sure that the companies are actually happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if there's a monopoly on the market, then they can charge whatever they want if nobody else is able to do anything, right?
Yeah.
Good old money tips. But you don't need to hear about the money tips from us, at least today.
Nope.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the DomJake podcast. It was definitely a journey of which the 2 of us just did a creative exercise, right?
Yep.
And, I mean, we hope you enjoyed hearing the 2 lunatics talking about their games in copious amounts of detail, but thanks for tuning in.
Yep.
And have a fantastic day. Do all the YouTube stuff if you want.
And
I don't want to tell you. So yeah, have a great one.
And like I said before, if this gets 10 likes, I'll actually release the Psycho Janitor video. Anyways, have a good one. Have a good one, guys.
Bye-bye.